It's been said that that you work when you're working, you work when you're on the road. You carry your studio around with you. You get up in the middle of the night, you get an idea for a tune, and you get up and go do it. There's just no such thing as Prince being off from work. Well, some people have even called you the workaholic, ever-moving one-man storm. Is that true?
Well, I don't know. The thing is that when you're called, you know, and I hear things in my sleep. I walk around, and I go in the bathroom and try to brush my teeth, and all of a sudden the toothbrush starts vibrating. That's a groove, you know, and you got to go with that, and that means drop the toothbrush and get down to the studio or get to a bass guitar quick, you know, and I don't know, my best things have come out like that. To me, making a song is like a new girl walking in the room, you know. You never know what's going to happen till all the things come together. And there she stands, and she says, hi, you know, and you want to take a bite of this orange? You bite it, and it's cool, and I send it to you, you know?
I know.
So it's 1984, and following on from the release of the Purple Rain album and movie, The Times, Ice Cream Castles, and Sheila E.'s debut, The Glamorous Life, comes the debut and only album from Apollonia 6. Released on October the 1st, Apollonia 6's debut album was another Prince project under his Jamie Starr pseudonym. The credits from the album went to Sheila E., members of Apollonia 6 and The Revolution. Prince wrote all the songs, two of which were collaborations, A Million Miles I Love You, with Prince and Lisa Coleman, and Some Kind of Lover, Prince featuring Brenda Bennett. Prince also plays on the album and can be heard on backing vocals on Some Kind of Lover and A Million Miles I Love You. The album is the usual mix of rock and pop, but misses that Minneapolis funk of the Vanity 6 and Time albums. The standout track, Sex Shooter, is the most well known, having featured in the Purple Rain movie.
I'm a sex shooter, shooting love in your direction.
Happy Birthday Mr. Christian, which was a last-minute replacement for Manic Monday, which Prince had chosen to hold on to at the time, may well cause some concern in today's world, as it deals with the old subject of teenage schoolgirl in love with her teacher. But in this track, they are having an affair, with the teacher only interested in having a little fun. It's a subject that was also covered by the Police with their track Don't Stand So Close to Me a few years earlier.
Compared to the size of my chest, then all the other girls looked sick. Mr. Christian stared at me always. Desire turned to pain.
There are some little segues where the girls mess around, but are pretty awkward and lack the humour of the Vanity album.
God bless Susan and Brenda and my rabbit Smokey. Oh, and God, please bless all the people on Neptune. Amen.
Apollonia.
Who said that?
It's Brenda from Neptune. Get up, girl. It's too early to be in bed.
Oh, Brenda, what is it?
Get up.
I'm tired.
Come here. I want you to hear something.
What?
Come on.
Blue Limousine is a strong rock number, and Million Miles I Love You features a cool little jam section at the end. Ooh Shee Shee Wah Wah is fairly forgettable, but musically is similar to Makeup from the Vanity 6 album. But more interesting is the pop life sounding Some Kind of Lover, which could be where that track was born out of. The album produced 2 singles, Sex Shooter, which reached number 85 on the US Billboard Hot 100, number 14 on the Billboard Black chart, and number 32 on the Billboard Hot Dance and Disco chart, and Blue Limousine, which failed to chart. The album sold okay on the back of the Purple Rain movie and reached number 62 on the Billboard 200 chart and number 24 on the Billboard Soul LPs chart. During October of 1984, Prince and the Revolution continue rehearsals in Minneapolis for the upcoming Purple Rain tour. A stage built to Prince's specifications was delivered to Minneapolis for the final rehearsals. Prince also began to put together his latest side project, a band called The Family. The band was to be made up of the remnants of the time who had actually broken up before the release of the Purple Rain movie. Morris Day had left to settle down in Santa Monica, California to pursue a solo career, and Jesse Johnson had also decided to leave. From the remnants of the time, Prince brought in Paul St. Paul Peterson, Jerome Benton and Jelly Bean Johnson. Joining them were Susanna Melvoin, twin sister of Wendy, and Eric Leeds, brother of Alan, who was Prince's road manager at the time. Prince then had the idea to make Paul Peterson, who was a keyboard player in the time, the group's lead singer.
He said, well, I've got an idea, and you're going to be the next new lead singer. He pointed at me, and I said, come on, you're kidding me. He said, no, you're going to be the next lead singer. And I couldn't believe it. Of course, I said, okay, let's do this record.
On the 4th of November 1984, the Purple Rain tour begins with 7 sold-out shows at Detroit's Joe Louis Arena. The tour was the live debut for The Revolution, now in its classic lineup, which consisted of Brown Mark on bass, Wendy Melvoin on guitar, Lisa Coleman on keyboards, Bobby Z on drums, Matt Fink on keyboards, and Prince. Sheila E. and her band and Apollonia 6 also joined Prince on the tour as opening acts. The tour took in a mammoth 98 shows across 5 months, selling over 1.7 million tickets. The production was one of the most lavish of Prince's career so far, featuring a multi-level stage with a balcony, hydraulic lifts, purple bathtub, lasers, smoke effects, and the sliding pole retained from the previous tour. The sound and lighting was state-of-the-art, and the whole show was an extremely extravagant and theatrical presentation. The setlist for the show drew heavily from the Purple Rain and 1999 albums, with their typical setlist being Let's Go Crazy, Delirious, 1999, Little Red Corvette, Free, Take Me With You, How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, Do Me Baby, Let's Pretend We're Married, International Lover, Father's Song, God, Computer Blue, Darling Nikki, The Beautiful Ones, When Doves Cry, I Would Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain. Over 300 reporters from all over the world attended the opening show. However, the reviews were far from glowing. Steve Ivory of Black Beat magazine felt that Prince had gone Las Vegas and predicted that critics would pan him on the rest of the tour. Robert Hilburn of the Los Angeles Times felt the show was less challenging than Prince's earlier performances and wrote, while the show had virtually everyone in the Joe Louis Arena on their feet most of the time, the conservative approach sacrificed much of the challenge and provocation of Prince's earlier performances. John Bream of the Minneapolis Star and Tribune felt it was a relatively conservative but winning show, adding, such undaring crowd-pleasing tactics have not been Prince's style in concert. Christopher Connolly of Rolling Stone called the show short but satisfying. During November 1984, the tour played 7 dates at the Capitol Center, Washington, D.C., selling 120,000 tickets and grossing $2 million. The critics may well have been unimpressed with Prince's more conservative approach, but the audiences, it seemed, couldn't get enough. During the stay in Washington, Prince played a surprise gig at the Gallaudet College for the Deaf. Not knowing what they were going to see, some 2,500 deaf and disabled students from all over the state were bussed in. During the show, sign language interpreters signed Prince's lyrics to the crowd. In return, the crowd flashed one sign back: "We love you." December 1984, and the tour continues with 2 dates in Canada at the Maple Leaf Gardens, 2 concerts in Cleveland at the Richfield Coliseum, and 4 dates at the Rosemont Horizon, Chicago. And still the reviews were disappointing. Lynn Van Marta, pop music critic for Chicago Tribune, wrote, "For all his considerable talent, Prince unfortunately seems to have no sense of humour. Not about the fact that the fopper's sex symbol routine is somewhat amusing, and certainly not about the fact that his sexy attitudes border on the burlesque. A long mid-show segment devoted to rambling musings on whether Chicago women do it better was the weakest part of the concert." The tour rolled on with 5 sold-out concerts at the Civic Centre in St Paul, which was a new record for the Twin Cities at the time. The 5 shows sold almost 90,000 tickets. A number of free tickets were also given to underprivileged youths in the area. The shows also finally received some positive reviews. John Bream from the Minneapolis Star and Tribune, writing, "Prince pleased the crowd because he played all the music from his smash movie Purple Rain and the major hits from 1999. He seduced the fans with his sexiness and dazzled them with his dancing and ambitious production, using as many props and gimmicks as a Busby Berkeley movie and more costume changes than Liza Minnelli." James N. Tarbuck from the St Paul Pioneer Dispatch was also positive, writing that the show was strong, well rehearsed and captivating. By the end of the year, Prince and the Revolution had recorded most of the next album, Around the World in a Day, and in the latter part of the tour, several of the new songs were introduced into the set, including Condition of the Heart, Raspberry Beret and America. Prince concludes 1984 with 2 dates at the Reunion Arena, Dallas, on the 30th and 31st of December. January 1985 and the Purple Rain Tour continues, with 18 shows between the January the 1st and January the 23rd, taken in Dallas to Houston to Cincinnati. On the 28th of January 1985, Prince appears at the American Music Awards in Los Angeles. He won 3 awards, including Favourite Album for Purple Rain in both the pop, rock and black music categories, and Favourite Single, When Doves Cry. Prince and the Revolution performed Purple Rain at the ceremony. However, it was what happened after the show that became one of the biggest controversies in Prince's career so far, and one that would not be forgotten for a long time. After the ceremony, a group of 45 artists, including many of the biggest stars in the music world, including Michael Jackson, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Tina Turner, Lionel Richie, Diana Ross, to name a few, gathered at the nearby A&M Studios to record a benefit song for Ethiopia, We Are the World. Prince had turned down the opportunity to appear at the recording session, instead deciding to donate a song to the planned benefit album. Prince had offered to either donate a song, send Sheila E. in his place, or play guitar on the track. But when Prince's manager, Bob Cavallo, called with Prince's suggestions, Quincy Jones, who was producing the record, was not impressed. Bob Cavallo informed Prince if he planned to skip the session, the only way would be to claim illness. Also, he warned Prince not to go out partying after the award ceremony, as to be seen blowing off the charity gig to go partying would bring terrible publicity. So Prince, of course, went out partying anyway, and to make matters worse, some of Prince's bodyguards got into a fracas with some photographers trying to take pictures, and ended up being charged with assault and robbery of a roll of film. Prince later commented on the incident, "I've been accused of sticking bodyguards on people. You know what happened in LA? The photographer tried to get in the car. I don't have any problems with someone I know trying to get in my car with me and my woman in it, but someone like that, just to get a picture?" In the end, Sheila E. took Prince's place at the recording, and Prince did end up submitting a song for the USA for Africa album, a beautiful track, For the Tears in Your Eyes, which was recorded while on the Purple Rain tour.
Died for the tears in your eyes, for the tears in your eyes, for the tears.
Prince faced heavy criticism for his decision, and the fact that he donated a song for the album seemed to be no excuse in the eyes of the press. Prince had this to say about it.
You've been criticized for not showing up at the We Are the World recording session last January. Why weren't you there?
We had talked to the people that were doing the USA for Africa. And they said it was cool that I gave up a song for the album, which was the best thing for both of us, I think. I'm strongest in a situation where I'm surrounded by people I know. It's better that I did it that way, the music, than going down and participating there. I probably would have just clammed up with so many great people in the room. I'm an admirer of all people who participated in that particular outing, and I don't want there to be any hard feelings. There's so many other things to do.
Prince would also write a track in response to the situation and the criticism he received, titled Hello.
I tried to tell them that I didn't want to sing, but I gladly write a song instead. They said okay and everything was cool.
February 1985. On the 11th of February, Prince appears at the BPI Awards in London, where he won 2 awards, Best International Artist and Best Soundtrack Album for Purple Rain. Noel Edmonds, who hosted the show, seemed genuinely perplexed by the sight of Prince and his bodyguard Big Chick Hustonbury, and Prince's short acceptance speeches. And Prince also received a lot of negativity from the British press about his appearance and his bodyguards. The tabloids, always eager to gossip, went on to report that Prince at the airport, as he left, muttered that he should have been shown more respect and that he was never coming back to Britain. The Purple Rain tour continues during February with 6 sold-out shows at the Inglewood Forum, Los Angeles. And on the 23rd of February, Bruce Springsteen and Madonna guested on stage during Baby I'm a Star and Purple Rain. Madonna danced with a tambourine while Springsteen plugged in a guitar and played next to Wendy. On the 27th of February, Prince and the Revolution attend the 27th Grammy Awards, where Prince won and shared 3 awards. He won Best Rock Performance by a Group with The Revolution for Purple Rain and Best Album of Original Score written for a motion picture. He also won for writing the Best R&B song I Feel For You, which had been recorded and covered by Chaka Khan. Prince and the Revolution closed the ceremony with a performance of Baby I'm a Star. March 1985 and the Purple Rain Tour moves into its final few weeks, with 6 shows in Long Island, New York, selling almost 100,000 tickets. On the 25th of March, Prince wins an Oscar for Best Original Song Score for Purple Rain at the 57th Annual Academy Awards at the Music Center, Los Angeles. "This is very unbelievable," Prince said in his acceptance speech. "I could never imagine it in my wildest dreams." On the 30th and 31st of March 1985, Prince plays 2 concerts at the Carrier Dome, Syracuse. The show on the 30th was broadcast live via satellite to several European countries, to an estimated audience of some 12 to 15 million people. It was the first chance for most Europeans to see Prince in concert. The concert would go on to be released on VHS video. The Purple Rain Tour had taken its toll on Prince, who was said to be frustrated and feeling burnout by the rigid structure of the show and was worn down by performing the same songs night after night. On the 2nd of April 1985, Prince's manager, Stephen Fagnoli, announced that Prince will quit live performing. Prince is withdrawing from the live performance scene for an indefinite period of time. Prince's concert on April 7th at Miami's Orange Bowl will be his last performance for an indeterminate number of years. I asked Prince what he planned to do. He told me, "I'm going to look for the ladder." I asked him what that meant. All he said was, "Sometimes it snows in April." April 7th, 1985, and the Purple Rain Tour and era comes to a close with the concert in Miami. However, it wasn't without controversy, as religious leaders objected to the concert being held on Easter Sunday. Reverend Donald Connolly said, "It's truly sacrilegious to have such a person give a concert on Easter Sunday. He advocates and praises the use of drugs and uncommitted sex." During the concert, Prince referred to the controversy about the date, wishing everyone a happy Easter, raising his eyebrow in characteristic fashion. At the end of the show, Prince told the audience it had been the happiest season of his life, and dozens of white doves were released. The Purple Rain Tour had been a huge success. Seen by almost 1.7 million people and grossing around $30 million, the tour was one of the 3 biggest in music history at that time. The Purple Rain era was over. It was now time to go around the world in a day.